I didn't spill it. We're balling on a budget this week because we have the Trader Joe's blueberry lemonade sparkling water instead of LaCroix because I did something bad. Okay, I reconciled my budget at the end of June and something popped up. There's a little line item in there that I was like, I don't know what happened. Well, actually, I do. I spent $700 on TikTok Shop this month, and it was on accident. And I also spent another like $500 on clothes outside of TikTok Shop. So I ended up being about $1,200 over budget from shopping. And that's not usually something that I do, but I did it. It was me. It wasn't credit card fraud. It was literally me. So anyway, we cannot afford LaCroix anymore unless LaCroix is going to sponsor us. So we can now afford Trader Joe's blueberry lemonade sparkling water, which arguably is really, really good. So I'm a big fan, and it matches my outfit. We got the blue vibe going on. You should watch the YouTube version. Okay, my YouTube versions have been popping off. I have 8 subscribers now. So those 5 people who subscribed in the last week, I love you guys. Make sure you're writing reviews. If you're on YouTube, leave me a comment. I'll respond. Yeah, I'm just trying to be a podcaster. Still have no idea what this podcast is about, but I'm here. Anyway, this week I wanted to do a little Q&A and just answer some of you guys' questions as you guys start to get to know me. I have some new subscribers on here, obviously. You 5 that subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hello. But yeah, I just wanted to help you guys get to know me a little bit more. And truthfully, I had no idea what to talk about, so I decided y'all should tell me what to talk about. But I promise. Well, I don't promise. Actually, no, I'm not going to make a promise that I can't keep, but I'm going to try my best to come up with some worthwhile content for next week. I feel like the last couple weeks have been a little bit of a sham, but it's okay. I asked you guys on Instagram, on both my podcast Instagram, which is What's Stopping You Podcast, and my personal Instagram, which is at Kelsey Jones. I'll always linked in the description of the episode. If you want to go follow me, you should. And also TikTok, follow me on TikTok at Kelsey Jones. I asked you guys to give me some questions. Y'all had some hard hitters. Let's see what we got in here. So the first one is actually a jumping off point from my last episode that I wanted to bring up first because I saw this and I just thought that this would be a good conversation starter and also something that I would put up on TikTok and see what people had to say. But somebody asked, what would you say is your biggest dating struggle? Genuinely curious. Which I've talked about in other episodes, in the episode previously, how I would put a lot of pressure on dating, or I would just feel like really discouraged about dating just because of the way that dating culture is. I mean, I feel like anybody can attest to the fact that dating sucks. Like, me and my girls, like, joke all the time, like, I don't want a boyfriend, I want a husband, you know? And I would say that my biggest dating struggle is people not having that kind of mindset, which maybe is like extra, but I'm just such a commitment person. And I'm just somebody that I'm just really looking for one person. I'm not looking to date 47 people to figure out who I like. Like, I'm just trying to pick one and go for it. You know, obviously within certain parameters. And I don't know, I have certain standards, and obviously character is really important to me. And I just think, like, in general, there's so many people out there in the dating pool, especially in Austin, that I don't know, I feel like lack character, paradox of choice. They don't want commitment. They just want something casual, which is not my deal. No, thank you. And yeah, I just feel like 25 too is like such a weird age because some people are starting to get married. Some people are starting to like establish their lives, and some people are very much not ready for that at all and like are going to spend the next 10 years doing whatever they want. And it's really hard to find people that are in the former boat of like actually looking to settle down and actually looking to be a husband and be a father. Like I saw this TikTok today of a girl saying like, don't pick somebody that wants a wife and a baby, pick somebody that wants to be a husband and a father. And that hit. Okay, that hit. Whoever made that TikTok, thank you. Because I feel like a lot of people, and I think you could say the same of girls as well. I'm not trying to put this all on men, but I just have that perspective because I am a girl looking to marry a man. I feel like there are a lot of men out there that the idea of having a wife and a child sounds like success to them, but they don't see being a good husband and a father and like their role in it as part of the success too. And so that's been my personal dating struggle, is finding good quality men that want to be husbands, that want to be fathers, that aren't afraid of commitment, that are strong mentally, physically, that take care of themselves, that are grown adults, so you don't have to baby, that have good character, like all of these things. Like, it's so freaking hard to find. And it just blows my mind because I know so many girls that are incredible and deserving of the greatest man, and yet, not to say I don't know great men, because I really do, but it's like impossible to like date. I don't know. It's really hard. So yeah, it's not for lack of trying. I think it's for lack of really viable options. And then you find viable options and then nobody wants commitment. So, and I'm going for the full shebang. Like, I'm looking for a husband out here. So that narrows down our pool even more, because as soon as you say that, like, half of people are gonna run away because they're too afraid of commitment. Anyway, next question that I got is about Shark, which he is crying in the background. I really hope it doesn't pick up the audio on that, but somebody asked, why did I get a Shar-Pei, which Shark is a Shar-Pei, and his name, the story behind all of that. So it's actually kind of funny because I knew I wanted a Shar-Pei named Shark that was literally the color that he is, everything, since 2019. And so one time I was at this party and I met a Shar-Pei for the first time, and I'd never seen one before. I didn't even know they existed. And I was like in love. Okay. This dog's name was Chewy, and he was like a little tan Shar-Pei, and he was like the wrinkliest thing ever. His demeanor was unlike any dog I had ever met. And I was just like, I like you. And so I was like, I kind of want to get one of these, but I want to get a gray one just because I've always wanted a gray one. For a while, I wanted a French bulldog, and I wanted like a gray, or like his technical color of his coat is called blue. I always wanted like a gray dog. I'm not really sure why. It's my favorite color of dog. So I was like, okay, I want a gray Shar-Pei. And then around the same time, Billie Eilish adopted a dog, and Billie Eilish was probably one of my favorite artists in like 2019. She was really popping at that time. I had either just seen her at ACL or I was going to see her at ACL. And so yeah, I was on my Billie Eilish train, and she adopted a dog and named it Shark. And I was like, that is the coolest dog name ever. So I was like, oh my gosh, Shark the Shar-Pei. That's the coolest sounding Instagram handle ever. And so I actually ended up getting Shark's Instagram handle in 2019. So if you want to go follow Shark, it's at Shark the Shar-Pei. But I've had it since 2019, and the bio literally said coming soon. And I held on to that account for 5 years. And so I thought I would get him after college, which was in 2021, but I ended up moving to New York. So I was like, no way in heck am I having a dog while living in New York. That would be ridiculous. So then I moved back to Austin, and after a while, like getting established back here, I live in a pretty good setup to have a dog. My life has at a good point to have a dog, so I decided to get a dog, and Shark was born on January 5th of this year. It's crazy. He's only lived in this year. That's insane to me. So, yeah, that's basically the story. He's about to be 6 months old. I guess you're going to listen to this on Wednesday, and he turns 6 months on Friday. So that's super exciting. And time flies. But I'm actually really thankful that the first few months are over, because that was horrendous. I mean, it's fun. Like, it's fun to have a puppy, but it really takes a toll on you mentally. Like, you don't sleep. I mean, it's like having a child, like, you don't sleep, and they bother you 24/7, and they're destroying things, and you have to watch them 24/7, and it's just like a lot of work. So anyway, that's literally the story of why I got Shark. It's because I met a Shar-Pei and I fell in love, and I was just like determined to get a Shar-Pei. And then I got him. It's kind of funny because I feel like that's very much my personality. Like, I'm just somebody that, like, once I decide something, I just, like, go for it, which is why I'm not afraid of marriage, okay? So many people are, like, so afraid of marriage, and, like, of course, I'm afraid of, like, picking the wrong person, but I'm also, like, the kind of person that once I've decided on something, like, there's really nothing that's gonna stop me from changing my mind or not like, I'm not gonna change my mind, like, I'm pretty, like, set on something. So, yeah, I just, like, once I knew, I knew. I've always been that kind of person that, like, as soon as I know something, like, I just do it. Like, moving to New York. Like, as soon as I knew I wanted to move to New York, I was like, well, I'm gonna do it. There's nothing that's gonna stop me, you know? So, same thing with Shark. But I had to be patient and wait 5 years to get him, but no regrets. Speaking of regrets, my next question on here was, what's something that you wish you figured out sooner slash what's your biggest regret? And this one I saw on in my list of different questions here on my Instagram, and I was having trouble coming up with something because I don't think that in this moment now, like, I live with regrets. Like, there's not something I can point back to my life and be like, dang, I really wish I didn't do that, or I knew I shouldn't have done that, and I did it because I'm somebody that really follows your gut. Like, I've always been the kind of person that, like, I've just known inside me, like, the things that I wanted to do, the career that I wanted to take. Like, I knew I wanted to be a designer and a creative since I was 12 years old. Like, I have always been very sure of myself. I count myself lucky because I feel like it helps me not make big mistakes or, like, do things that I regret because I know who I am and I know what I stand for and I know what I'm all about. So I don't know crazy stuff that I regret. But something I wish that I figured out sooner. I love this question because at 25 now, I feel like I can look back on some of the stresses or perspectives that I had even in my early 20s. I mean, I guess I'm mid 20s now. That's so horrible. I hate that. I literally feel old now. Like, I feel like I'm aging and I'm freaking out. But I can look back on the perspectives of my early 20s and I'm like, I wish that I didn't see things that way, or I wish I had known what I know now. And I wish earlier in life I really would have just trusted that everything works out the way that it's supposed to. And that's such like a cliche thing to say because everyone's like, oh, everything happens for a reason. And if you have a faith, like, you should trust that God is going to work things out for your good and all of that kind of stuff. But I think I spent a lot of my early 20s being extremely worried about how every decision that I made was going to impact my life for the rest of my life. And I think it was warranted in a way because I think your early 20s can really make or break your life in a sense, like where you go to college, if you go to college, what jobs you take, where you move, like all those things are such pivotal decisions that you make in your early 20s that can impact you for the rest of your life, that will impact you for the rest of your life. I knew that. I've always known that. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself from a young age just to like figure it out and make all the right decisions and like be perfect and all of that. And I wish something that I had like truly embraced or like let fully sink into my mind is like, even if you don't do everything perfectly, it's still gonna work out okay. Like, it's still gonna end up okay. If you make the wrong move, if you take the wrong job, like, there's always a way out. There's always a way to pivot. There's always opportunity for change. Like, even when I moved to New York and I only lived there for like a year and a half, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that for just such a short period of time just to come back home. Like, that's failure. Like, I really felt like a failure. I was really down on myself, and unfortunately some of that had to do with the health issues that I was dealing with at the time. But I really was down on myself at that period of my life because I I felt like a failure. I felt like I like couldn't almost couldn't trust myself because I was like, I felt so cold to come to New York. And yet here I am leaving sick and tired and disillusioned. what's wrong with me? What did I do? How did I mess up? I think what I really wish I would have fully understood is that at that time in my life, like, just because things don't work out the way that you expect them to doesn't mean that you're a failure. It might have been exactly what you needed to do and what needed to happen at that point in time. And even if it doesn't work out the way that you wanted it to, that doesn't mean that it's not going to be used for your good in the future, or there aren't great memories attached to it, or people or experiences that I would never take back, that I never take for granted. And so something I wish that I had really figured out sooner was to truly believe that everything happens for a reason. Just because you do something and you trust that it's the right direction that you're going to take, like, it doesn't mean that it's always going to turn out perfectly. It's nothing ever turns out the way that you expect it. But just because something doesn't turn out perfectly doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. And that's kind of funny because I lead a Bible study on Mondays through my church, and it's great because my girls are my favorite people on the planet, and I love getting to walk through life with them. And we talked about in Mark 4, Jesus calms the storm, which is basically the story of all his disciples like being in a boat with him, and they're crossing over this really big lake, and Jesus is sleeping in the boat, and they come across this huge storm, and they're like afraid that the boat's gonna fall over. Like, it seems like it's pretty dire circumstances, and yet Jesus isn't phased, and he tells the storm to quiet down, and he calms the storm. And it's such a great parallel for like the moment in our lives of like, he knew exactly where they were headed. He knew that they were headed into the storm. He knew that there was something coming that they weren't expecting, but yet he was there with them and he had power over it. And this is where he was leading them. Like, he wanted them to get in this boat and go through this storm. And so it's just a good reminder for me that like the storms of life are necessary, and also that it just because something doesn't work out doesn't automatically mean you took the wrong path or you did the wrong thing. It's just a part of your story. And so, yeah, I wish I would have just trusted that a little bit more. Next question was, what made you decide to get into boxing and running? So those of you that listen to my mold poisoning story know that there was probably like a year and a half where I really couldn't work out because I was just so sick, and my body just had no extra capacity for stress or exercise or any of the like, because my body was just like dying basically. And so at the beginning of this year, I like had a moment where I was really reflecting on that whole experience, because I finally had like that aha moment of like praising that I finally felt healed. Like, I really felt like that chapter of having mold poisoning was behind me at the beginning of this year. Like, I went through treatment and I was losing all the weight that I had gained just naturally, and I was starting to feel like myself. I was starting to be able to sleep a normal amount every night instead of needing 10 hours of sleep every night. And I really just wanted to get back into an exercise routine because I was a gymnast growing up, and exercise and like working out had always been a huge part of my identity. And so I was really struggling to find a workout that I really enjoyed, because in college I did primarily weightlifting and cycling, and for some reason it just like wasn't hitting for me anymore. And so I was like, okay, let me find new workouts that satisfy that like need to work out and exercise, but also something I can like enjoy while I'm doing it. And so what made me decide to get into boxing was I really wanted a workout that had like a skill component to it, not just how hard you work out, but mentally how difficult it is. And so I really love that aspect about boxing is you have to learn a lot. You have to be quick on your feet. You have to be smart. And that's very different than like a Pilates class where they're just telling you what to do and you're just kind of following directions. But there's a lot of skill involved, even though it is physically difficult. But I wanted something that was more of a mental challenge. So that was boxing for me. And I just really like tried out a bunch of different workouts, and boxing was the one that I picked up where I was like, this is kind of fun. Like, it kind of felt playful. It kind of felt like something I wanted to learn how to do. And that was just with trial and error of like a bunch of different workouts. But then with running, I decided to get into running because I joined run clubs. Because Austin has been booming with run clubs, and I joined a run club at my church a couple weeks after I went through a breakup, and I was really just like looking for activities to do and more people to hang around and just something to get me out of my house because I work from home. And I was also looking to exercise more and like it's good stress relief. And so I joined run club, and I ended up like starting to join some other run clubs or trying other ones out. And now I've just really fallen in love with running, A, for the mental aspect of like challenging myself mentally, because running is such a mental sport. Your mind will quit way before your body will. Also just like the social benefit of like doing it with other people. And I just make so many friends through running. I go for runs with my friends all the time. Go to run 2 run clubs a week usually, and there's like infinite more that I could be joining if I wanted to. And so, yeah, that's kind of what made me get into it, was just looking for a workout that would help me feel a sense of community, because I felt a really strong sense of community when I was a gymnast growing up, because even though gymnastics is an individual sport, like you want your teammates to do well. Your teammates are the people that you're hanging out with 24/7. They become your sisters. I just wanted some kind of camaraderie that felt like that again, and so I found that in running. Next question is, what motivates you to get up in the morning? Now, this is a tough one because I've been working out in the morning, so honestly, what motivates me to get up is the fact that I've, like, committed to myself the workout the night before, like whether that's a run club that if I don't show up, I know somebody's gonna be texting me, or a boxing workout if I paid for it, like I'm not getting that money back if I miss. Which actually, okay, I booked my boxing through ClassPass, and ClassPass is so dumb because not only do you lose your credits whenever you don't show up to a class, but then you get charged a fine on top of it, which I'm just like, that's crazy because I paid for the class. Like, take my credits, sure, whatever. Like, give the gym the money for my spot that they were going to have if I had showed up. But then why are you fining me on top of it? Like, that's just crazy to me. I just hate everything about that. But yeah, I mean, on a more deeper level, what motivates me to get up in the morning, I just feel like an innate sense of calling to like show up every day and set a good example for people. Like, I don't know, I've just always felt like, I don't, it feels weird to say this, but I've just always felt like a leader. Like, I've always just known that I possessed that inside me. I don't know, it's just something I've known I was born with. And what motivates me to wake up every morning is to inspire people with the life that I live. Like, that's the whole essence of what stopping you is about, is like not letting anything get in your way from living the life that you want to. And so I feel like this really strong calling in my life to wake up and live exactly in the way that I want to not let anything stand in my way from becoming the best version of myself, and to do really cool stuff, and in turn hopefully motivate people to do really cool stuff with their life. So most people in my life have not heard about this, but I'm kind of planning a month-long solo trip through Europe later this year. This is one of those things where I'm just decided about it. So it's going to happen because I'm a make things happen kind of girl. And so I've just been like talking with people, trying to figure out some logistics about things. But what motivates me to wake up every morning is to live my life like that, to like be a person that decides, okay, I want to travel. So guess what? I'm going to go find a way to live in Europe for a month. Or I want to be fit. So I'm going to figure out how to work out and, achieve my goals in that way. Or I want a better job. I'm going to figure out how to get a better job. Like these types of things that people are always like striving towards. It's like, I just want to be an example of somebody that figures it out so that you can see too for yourself that these things are possible for you. And so that's the essence of what stopping you is about, And what I think that my life's calling is about is just being an example to people that I'm literally normal. Like, I didn't come from like a super rich family. I didn't have like some crazy like Ivy League education. Like, I'm just a girl and I just have decided I want to live an extraordinary life. And so whenever I want to do cool stuff, I don't take no for an answer and I figure out a way. Like, going to Europe's going to be extremely expensive. We're going to figure out a way. We're going to figure out how we're going to take care of Shark for the month. I am just the kind of person that I don't let difficult logistics get in the way of me living the life that I want to live and doing the things that I want to do. And so I want to share that with you guys. And so that's what motivates me to get up in the morning. Yeah. So I guess I just feel really driven by like being a good example to other people that you can live the life that you dream of and it's not unattainable and it's not only for the rich or it's not only for people who are born into specific circumstances. Like, while yes, I am blessed in many ways, I also have to overcome odds as well. Like, I don't have everything handed to me. Which is my least favorite thing on TikTok, when people just like assume that everything I do is via my dad's credit card or like I get everything handed to me, because that's literally not true. Like, my friends would tell you I'm one of the most hardworking people that they know. And I only say that because my friends do say that about me, not that I'm just trying to say that about myself. But yeah, I believe that you can do anything you set your mind to. Okay, last question I'm going to answer here because I feel like this is a good one. What have you learned about yourself recently? This is such a great question, especially because I just had a birthday and I feel like I'm coming into a new year of my life. I really feel like I'm coming into a new like season of self. It's like strange because I kind of do feel different. I kind of feel maybe it's the brain development, which they say men's brains develop around 25. I think women's actually develop earlier, and I'm pretty sure mine developed earlier because I don't know, my brain's been pretty rock solid the last couple of years. I feel like I'm pretty good at making smart decisions. But I kind of just feel like I've truly like know who I am. Like, I don't know how to explain that because it's like almost indescribable, but it's like I'm just very comfortable and confident with the work that I've done on myself, the person that I've become, what I do in my day-to-day life. Like, I really feel like I live a very transparent life in the sense of like, I don't say one thing and do another. I worked so hard to be the kind of person that has the character of like, I'm going to hold myself to the standard, I'm going to speak that out, and I'm going to live that out. And so, like, that's probably my biggest goal in my entire life, is to be the kind of person that I practice what I preach, so to speak. And I really just feel like that person. Like, I feel just so much weight off my shoulders. Like, it's just living out your values and living out your beliefs and your dreams. It's just such a lighter way to live. Like, I just know that everything that I'm doing is making me move in the direction, my life in the direction that I want to go. And so I almost feel like a sense of freedom, or like I'm not afraid of what's going to happen in my life anymore, because I really trust that I'm doing everything that I need to do in order to get to the places that I want to go and accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. Like I said last week in my goals for the next year episode, in honor of my birthday, I want to buy a home. And so I have like set up my finances in a way where I'm saving a certain amount every month. So there's really just no way I'm not going to hit that goal. Same thing with dating. Like, I know that I'm on the right path because I'm being like diligent in getting to know people, or establishing like my boundaries, or character traits that I'm looking for, all of those things. Like, I know that even as I go down that path, if things don't work out, I'm still on the right path towards meeting that right person that I can ultimately start a life with and a family with, or even just my running and boxing, all of that kind of stuff. Like, I don't necessarily have an end goal for like what I want to do. You know, I did say I wanted to run 10 miles this year, but I know that, okay, if I show up every week and run these miles, get these miles in, like, I'm going to be able to hit that goal at some point. Or, you know, boxing, like, I don't necessarily have a specific goal, but I know that if I just keep showing up, like, I will improve and I'll get better. Same thing with my job, same thing with my friendships, same thing with all the other things in life. Like, I know that everything that I do in my day-to-day life is in alignment with the kind of person that I want to be. And so I just have to keep showing up. And so that's one thing that I've really embraced recently and have been learning about myself and been thankful to experience, is just feeling really strong, feeling just such a sense of peace that I am exactly who I'm supposed to be. I'm doing exactly what I need to do, and everything's don't work out as it's supposed to. So yeah, oh my gosh, I just feel like I word vomited. I really hope you can't hear Shark because he's starting to get restless. Shark, buddy. I have to put him in his crate while I record these episodes, otherwise he like runs around and chews on the tripod, and that's just really extra. And I just can't have any of that. Thanks for the questions. And these are great. I loved all these questions because I feel like they could be things that I dive deeper into in future episodes. Yeah, I just wanted to share all that with you guys. Let me know if you have any additional questions. Feel free to comment on my Instagram posts or DM me, any of the above. Make sure that you give the podcast a 5-star review because then I'll love you forever. I'm going to do a giveaway at some point for reviews. So if you've written a review, screenshot it so that you can keep it for whenever I do this giveaway, because I haven't decided what I'm going to give away, but it's going to be pretty sick. And if anybody has a connection to LaCroix or a sparkling water brand that is actually a name brand, please text me, call me, beat me, DM me, comment in my YouTube comments, because I am broke. I'm just kidding. But I do want my LaCroix, so I need to order some. Guys, what's your favorite LaCroix flavor? Because my favorite flavor, I have 2 favorite flavors. One is the hibiscus, which I've drank on here before. One is the blue or blackberry. So I think it's blackberry cucumber, which I've also drank on here before. I had tried the cranberry orange Trader Joe's. It was pretty good. The blueberry lemonade is my favorite though. Anyway, that's a tangent. Come back next week for a episode sponsored by LaCroix. I hope you guys have a great week and a fun 4th of July. I don't really have any specific plans. I'm going to visit my family a little bit. I have like a party that I'm going to. Like, this should be pretty chill. I need a vacation. I need a break. I'm tired. That is all. Shark is throwing a fit, so I have to go rescue him, even though he's literally right here. But he's looking at me. I see you. Buddy, I see you. Anyway, see y'all next week.